top of the morning, and it is a beaut.
And the hope of the Irish as the future champion of the world.
A podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio.
Here's Barry J. McDonald and the RightCom.com podcast.
Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's podcast episode from RightCom.com. And today's podcast episode is entitled Success Happens on the Road to Happiness. Now, I don't know where that thought had come from. I was driving the car with my son this morning, very early this morning, and that thought just kind of floated into my head. Success happens on the road to happiness. Now, taking my son as a prime example of that, my son Ashin, he's going to a workshop today, like a theatre and drama workshop that's actually on down in Southern Ireland today, and the people who are running it are Michael Fassbender's parents. And I don't know whether it was just sitting in the car with Ashin or what we were doing or where he was going to put that thought in my head, but my son Ashin has this knack of getting involved with unusual things that, you know, he always seems to fall into some type of success, or he always falls into something that, you know, works to his favour. And a lot of times he doesn't ever actually, it's not like he overly goes out to, you know, it's not like he would apply for a load of shows or, you know, put himself out there. He wouldn't be on YouTube recording videos of himself, but he always has a lot of kind of happy coincidences, you know, and I think, in my eyes, I think the reason he has so many happy coincidences is because he doesn't force it. He lets things happen to him, and he does things that makes him happy. Now, Ashin loves singing and he loves drama, and he's loved it from a very, very young age. But he's never been someone who, you know, would stand in the front of a room and just get everybody to stop their conversation and listen to him like that. You know, people would, you know, he would, if people asked him would he sing for them, of course he would sing for them. But he's never really been a kind of showy or never, you know, been kind of in front of people's faces with what he does. But I've noticed over the years that, you know, his kind of happiness or the love he has for what he does kind of leads him on this kind of, you know, unusual path where all these different things happen to him. Like just this weekend happening here, it was just a complete kind of coincidence. Now, we had to pay for the thing. It wasn't free at all. But, you know, this happiness kind of leads him along this path that he's on at the moment. And sometimes as an adult, watching him growing up, and as someone who, you know, struggled to find my path or know where my position was in this world, you know, when you're working in a factory for a couple of years and then you try and do something creative like writing, and then you try that for a while and then you like it, and then the kind of, you know, the shine kind of goes off it, and then you're wondering, well, what is the next step? I've always been someone who, you know, has never really settled on one thing, and sometimes I see that, or I used to see that as a bad thing, that, you know, I needed to knuckle down, I needed to focus on one skill, I needed to stay at my writing, or I needed to do this, or I needed to do that to be successful. But as I'm getting older now, I think I'm actually finding that, you know, if you are going to be successful at anything, it's going to be something that you are going to be happy at. You know, when we look at people like, for example, maybe Gary Vee, someone who has huge success. Now, he put a huge amount of work into this to be where he is right now. But if you look at him, you know, he's happy with what he does. Now, some days are probably tiring. He probably puts in a lot of hours. He probably is exhausted and all that. But there's happiness at the back of that. That happiness kind of powers him and keeps him going. You know, I imagine it kept him going in the couple of years when he used to do those wine videos on YouTube when nobody's watching them. It was just a happy little project he had. It made him happy. And again, if you look at the great big, you know, football stars, American football, soccer or whatever, the ones who really make it to the top are happy with doing that. You know, the money is great and all that, but I'm sure if you took the money off them, you know, those people would still, you know, put their kit on every day, go out and practice, play the games because they have a great love of it. And a lot of us kind of think, well, if I'm going to be successful, I need to put hard work in. I need to do something that I'm not happy doing. And, you know, we'll trudge on through it, we'll force ourselves, we'll try and force the success because we believe that success is there. But the more I've thought about it, the more I've come to realise that you'll never be as successful as a Gary Vee, or you'll never be successful as some of these sports stars if you don't love what you do. You know, if it's forced, if it's not part of you, it'll never be, and even if you have some success, it'll always feel like, I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing, or I'm forcing this. And eventually you will probably reach a point where it just won't make you happy anymore, or it'll just go into, it'll probably turn you off, or it'll go sour at some point because it's not what you're doing. And if all that success was taken away from you and you're back at square one, I can imagine the disappointed you'd have. But again, if it's someone like Gary Vee, if Gary Vee lost everything tomorrow, you know for a fact, if you've been watching Gary Vee and you know much about him, he would be happy as a clam and going from one garage sale to the other, making a dollar or two, selling T-shirts or selling mugs or whatever. That would still keep him happy because his happiness is in that. So even if everything was pulled out from under him, he would be happy. So maybe it's time for both of us maybe to think about, what makes us happy, because, at the end of the day, our success is probably going to be on the path to happiness, following our happy, whatever makes us happy, whatever we would do for free, whatever makes us, brings little joy in our heart. Now, some of us, unfortunately, may be working maybe a full-time job, maybe we don't have, as much time as we'd like to follow maybe our happy projects. But maybe if we set aside some time, maybe an hour or two, just doing something that makes us happy, you'll find that little project will probably grow, and eventually it may take over your full-time job, and it may be something that will kind of bring you money in for the rest of your life. And even if you're not hugely successful, even if the whole world doesn't know who you are, or care who you are, or knows what you do, the fact that you're doing something that makes you happy already makes you successful. The money after that is like the cherry on the top. So think about that today. Maybe if you're trying to force success, if you are trying to be a clone of someone else, you're never going to reach a great point of success. And if you do reach a great point of success, it's going to eventually probably crumble over time because you're not going to be happy doing it. But you'll never compete with somebody who loves what they do, because they are fired up every day. They are jumping out of the bed right now and they are excited to write their book or write their blog post or do TikTok videos. For them, that is, it's where their life is. And you'll never compete with that. You'll never put as much content out there as them. You will never put your heart into your business as much as they will, because they love what they do. So keep that in mind today. Any success you're going to have is probably going to, be on your happy path. And, in this world where, we've gone through schooling, we've gone through college, that has kind of been drummed out of us. We feel that we need to follow the path that everybody else is on, or follow the information that's in the book. That's the thing that's going to make successful. But when you look at it, the people who are really, really successful right now are the people who are happy with what they do. Give that some thought today. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like more from the Rightcome.com podcast, be sure to subscribe now for more tips, tricks, and ideas you can use to make more money from your words. See you in the next episode.